this ladies you will see today, and the story is about one such person that does this work, and it's a very important work, and this work actually fuels the AI revolution and the AI economy, and which is being done thanks to the Anudeep Foundation and iMerit, being done by people who are in remote areas of India, as I understand. Without that data annotation, it cannot work. But having said that, another issue in this movie that I find fascinating is that the cultural aspect of a Western system of annotation, right? So I understand the story that there was a classification of a caterpillar that was, according to the Western system, it was supposed to be a pest, but the lady who was doing the annotation did not agree. And that's where I think that, I am getting more and more convinced that uniform system of valuation, uniform value judgment, and uniform annotation, these things are not going to work. And as we are getting more and more dependent on AI, the AI annotation has to also be contextual and culture specific. I think that's where I think we need to focus on, and I think this movie actually has relevance to that. So having said that, I spoke more than what Devjani asked me to speak, so let me just do my actual duty, which is to introduce Mrs. Radha Ramaswamy Basu. She is, of course, a pioneer, and she is the founder and CEO of iMerit. And she has done many things. It's a amazing thing to actually understand. She started the HP in India while running their $1.2 billion electronic software division. She was also the first woman of Asian origin to take a company public on NASDAQ, and SupportSoft was the company, I believe, and was recognized as the top 25 women of the web 2000 by the 3rd annual San Francisco Women on the Web for that particular feat. She was also listed among the Forbes most powerful self-made women in India for building a global AI business as early as 2012. She's a professor of frugal innovation at Santa Clara University. I think frugal innovation is very important for India, and guest lecturer at the London Business School and MIT Sloan. And of course, many global recognitions using, including United Nations GemTech and Global Thinkers Forum Award. And but more importantly, with respect to today's program, in 2007, she founded the Anudeep Foundation, not as a charity, but as a systems-driven model connecting aspiration, skills, and technology. And today, Anudeep is one of the India's largest livelihood tech skills NGOs. And I was listening to the 4 alumni just before this program, and it was quite amazing to see the transformation that has happened in their lives. I actually asked them, how do you see your life transformed by Anudeep? And it was amazing to hear from them. And I think after the movie, you will actually hear from these ladies who are sitting there, right there over, 4 of them, quite amazing. And unfortunately, I have to leave for a flight, but I hope that you will stay and listen to the director and also to these amazing ladies at the end. And I think this movie will not be complete without having listened to them. So I think it's very important that you do that. So I would request Mrs. Radha Basu for a few words before I think we start. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you so much. As I was listening to you, I was looking around thinking, who is he talking about? For me, this being here today and This is, I think, the third or fourth time, Aranya, that I'm seeing this documentary, this movie. And it's very, very close to my heart. So, when people talk about the formation of Anudeep, formation of iMerit, and what has been achieved, I really mean this. The actual inspirational people are the young men and women. For me, most everybody around me is much younger to me, who have been able to go from where their lives are, be very curious about learning, have brought to themselves, we are enablers, have made it possible to learn things that are completely different from what they're learning in the schools and colleges and even the jobs they see around them. And bridging that gap to becoming, in many cases, and you'll hear from several of them, the four of the ladies, becoming global AI, part of the global AI workforce. Part of the global AI workforce. And you're absolutely right. AI, good AI, starts with good AI data, which starts with very, very good AI data annotation. If your annotation is, the annotated data has issues with it, your model will have issues. If your model has issues, it does something called hallucination. It hallucinates. If the model hallucinates, what you're looking at is completely erroneous. And a lot of people, and this is what's excellent about the movie, a lot of people, even some of the best data scientists, who think that they are creating the models, do not fully comprehend the importance of the people who are doing the highest quality work in annotating the data and prepping the data for being utilized by SpaceX, by OpenAI, by TCS, by Mahindra's, by Ford Motor Company, by the banks. You can name any field. Legal, professional services, the government, energy, but it is at the core of that data being rich, valuable, and accurate. Today I was at the, we started an iMerit Center in Hyderabad 2 months ago, and I was there and I asked 194 young people working on very complex LiDAR, ADAS, autonomy and robotics model development. Ask them, what are your accuracy metrics? One person looked and very quizzically said 95%. And the other person answers, I think it's close to 98%. And a third person says, no, we are at 99.2%. Think about that. That is the accuracy of the data and the intensity with which these people are working. The other point you made is really important. The diversity of the people working. The Caterpillar example you gave. We've had probably, literally millions of those examples where a person from one culture and one context looks at the same data in a different way. Let me give you one that can relate, that many women can relate to. We did a big study recently, which was published a few weeks ago, on breast cancer screening. We had data from a lot of, this was data from many clinics, all DFI'd, which means completely de-identified, anonymized, and to contribute to the models for cancer cell categorization and breast cancer screening. One of the biggest learnings from that is the fact that women, Caucasian women, Black women, Latino women, Asian women, Indian women, women from the Middle East, all of them have different parameters and characteristics that contribute to the models and also towards the screening. That's not to say there aren't one set of models that were developed, there are. But each group of women, age, nutrition, I give you 28 parameters that created customized, fine-tuned models. This is now, you can take that screening, you can take a lot of the models, but then you're customized and screen them, and who is working on them? It is these young men and women who are providing the data, annotation, the accuracy, and now these, and you'll hear from them, they're now getting into evaluating models, fine-tuning them, looking at monitoring them if they are performing well, correcting them, and doing triage if they're actually not performing in production. That is how this is progressing. In the formation of Anudeep, what we thought about is, how do we work with young boys and girls, young men and women, who do not have access to the kind of education you get at an IIT. I myself, I'm married to an IITian from IIT Kharagpur, and I'm surrounded by IITians. I'm very proudly from Guindy Engineering in Chennai. That's my background. And I'm all the time fighting with the IITians. That's just for fun. But the amount of intelligence, curiosity, and eagerness to learn and contribute at a global level, you will hear that. That cannot be matched, because that is in there in these people. And it is our job, and that's what we believed in Anudeep. How do we help bring that out? It's not us doing it. It is bringing it out and giving them the access, and everything just flows from there. Anudeep, since you told me when, by the way, I didn't start it. I was still running the company that was on NASDAQ. My husband Deepak did, and he continues to be very involved and be on the chairman of the board. I can tell you from day one, I was involved. And it doesn't matter when you have a mission and a passion like Anudeep, and you are addressing 600,000, so how many ever lakhs that is, I'm sorry, is when you're looking at 1 million youth, and 53% of them are young women, and we started in the Sundarbans. In the Sundarbans, one of the hardest places to work in. When you're doing that, it doesn't matter what your role is, because the role is in the passion and the mission. And in seeing these absolutely bright faces and smiles, and the contributions they are making to themselves, to society, to their families, to their villages, and the role models they are for the society around them. And for me, Aranya, the fact that you captured that at the core is what makes such a difference. I think that this is how the core of India, and India being in AI, being at the leadership of AI, starts with these young men and women. It is not the CEOs, VC funded, they are leading the way, yes. But it is these people that are going to provide the leadership globally. And I believe the power and the passion and the ability and intelligence is there in the young men and women that we work with. And I want to say to you, Monisha, you've transformed and brought this along so much into such a big, into something that's national. And the most important are these 4 young women who represent all of the 600,000 or whatever, and all the men and women who work, who are from Anudeep, who work at iMerit. And I don't want to leave this with saying that this is just about these 2 organizations. It is about the young people who are contributing to AI and who will actually make AI work by providing very contextual and very, very unbiased and very diverse ways in being able to develop the data needed for AI. With that, I would say thank you for the opportunity, and I'm really glad to be here.
उसमें कुछ डिस्क्रिपेंसीज है, उनको रिव्यू करवाइए और रिव्यू मीटिंग से पहले सबमिट करने के लिए बोलिए। जोहार जोहार, वेलकम नया बैच।
यस मैम।
अच्छा, हम किसके लिए काम करते हैं?
आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस।
अरे वाह, तो सब आता है। चलिए, अभी हम आपको दिखाएंगे हमारी मेन वर्किंग रूम। आइए, चलिए मेरे साथ। आइए आइए, देखिए, अच्छे से ऑब्जर्व कीजिए।
क्या है ये, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। देखो ना, हमको ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, ये अदरक है या हल्दी है?
अरे क्या है, रोज रोज तुम क्यों गलत शब्द बताते रहती हो?
उसने अदरक ही उठाया है।
अरे तुम साबुत हल्दी लगता है।
पर गोरे साबुत हल्दी का क्या करेंगे?
ये टर्मरिक लट्टे के नाम से सुनी हो?
अच्छा छोड़ो ये सब, हम लोग अपने काम पे।
क्या हुआ?
मैम, ये AI मार्ट वाला जो प्रोजेक्ट है, इसमें बहुत सारी दिक्कतें आ रही हैं। ये बताना मुश्किल हो रहा है कि ये अदरक है या हल्दी।
तो मुझे भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है।
बिल्कुल ये सेम लग रहा है।
वो हल्दी है। अदरक में छोटा छोटा बल्ब निकलता है, हल्दी में नहीं। करेक्ट। लेवलिटस ग्रामर, ये है हमारा काम, डाटा लेवलिंग। AI एक बच्चों की तरह है। हम उसे चीज़ों में अंतर करना सिखाते हैं, जैसे हल्दी और अदरक। हमें रॉ डाटा मिलता है, यानी नॉर्मल फोटो वीडियो। हम अपने प्रोजेक्ट के हिसाब से उसे लेवल करते हैं। जैसे हमारे क्लाइंट है फेशियल रिकॉग्निशन के, उनके लिए हमें मुंह, नाक, चोट ये सब लेवल करना पड़ता है। और धीरे 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 AI सीख जाता है, पर उसके लिए हमें सैकड़ों फोटो वीडियो लेवल करना पड़ता है। आप मानिए जैसे आपको एक बहुत ज़्यादा जिम्मेदारी की काम दी जा रही है।
Have the output suffer because of poor quality trained data. We'll reconvene next week. Thank you. Bye, Alka. Bye, Mark.
Okay, all right. Okay, bye, Jason, and we'll see you next week, Alka.
नीमा,
हाँ
मैडम बुलाई हैं।
ठीक है। यस मैम, आपने बुलाया? नीमा जी, आज अपने पेस्ट को क्या लेवल किया?
पेस्ट ही किए हैं।
इसको क्या किया?
वो पेस्ट नहीं है मैडम, मुहानी नहीं पहुंचाता है। हम आपको प्रेजेंटेशन के वक्त ही बताना चाहते थे, वो पेस्ट नहीं।
टास्क नहीं हुआ अभी? आज के टास्क का यूज जानती हो? नहीं? रुको मैं दिखाती हूँ। तो ये एक AI आर्ट जनरेटर है। अपना प्रोटोटाइप टेस्ट करना चाहती हैं? ये जो तुम फोटो, पेंटिंग लेबल कर रहे हो ना, ये सब मिला के वो अपना एक AI पेंटिंग बना रहे। तुम्हारी पेंटिंग बनवाए? आओ। क्या आता है देखते हैं। अरे ट्राइबल लिखने से ऐसे, पर ऐसा होना तो नहीं चाहिए। इंडियन ट्राइबल डाल के देखते हैं। सर्च स्पेक्ट्रम शायद थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाए। अरे ये तो अमेरिकन नेटिव इंडियन जैसी इमेज है ना।
born out of an impact fellowship called the Museum of Imagined Futures. They wanted to tell urgent stories about overlaps of tech and society. And this could mean anything. It could mean privacy, it could mean social media, it could mean anything. Around that time, I chanced upon Karishma Mehrotra's article called The Human Touch. And in that was mentioned this very interesting world of Adivasi women in Jharkhand especially working as data labelers. Now, immediately when I read it, I realized that this is an amazing premise for a film. But a lot of times what happens is when something is that good, a premise also becomes like a great premise becomes like a great curse. You know, it's a thing they say in cinema. Because the film can just plateau at and become about a spotlight on this work which is happening. Karishma's article, I have to obviously mention this, was done through a research on iMerit centers itself across many states, across West Bengal, Jharkhand, and even Telangana, I believe. So the question really was, do I make this film as a pure spotlight on this work that is happening, or can I do something more with it? And I did, run around this idea for at least 3 to 4 months before realizing that this job of data labeling, where a woman or a man repeatedly labels, say, a chair and a table for an algorithm to understand that difference, this job is very much like parenting. And that realization happened almost 4 or 5 months into grappling with this idea. But when that realization happened, it made me think that if this job is like parenting, can we see AI as a child, right? It's also something that one of the data labelers has said, rather, casually, that AI ek bacche ki tarah hai. And this is an actual statement that a data labeler made. Then, if AI is like a child, can we see AI purely as a blank slate, or is there a possibility to see AI as a descendant of us, with our strengths, our weaknesses, our capacity for empathy? And I think that really became the core of the film. I'm also very deeply interested in where we come from, each one of us, especially India. We all grow up with knowledges which come from very traditional places, and I was interested, the moment I started writing Nema, I was interested in what all has she grown up with, right? And all that she's grown up with, the learnings about the worm, the learning about the porcupine, the learning about the forest, where the seeds are, where the roots are, could that find a space in data labeling in her job? And that really was the central theme of the film, and I hope we did a decent job.
What was the sort of decision for the 4:3 aspect ratio? Was there anything specific? Was there anything specific behind that? And also, what exactly to you was the symbolism of the porcupine, and what was your thought process behind that?
Which is not CinemaScope. A lot of of course, CinemaScope is wider. This is the native aspect ratio of the camera we shot on, which is an Arri Mini, right? What this opened up was that a lot of times when you do a very wide screen, you can get the landscape very well, but you may not be able to get the landscape of the face as well as the landscape in general, right? So what this allowed me to do was to explore the landscape. If you see the close-ups of Nema and the way it's been lit from one side, it creates a feeling of a parallel between her face, the landscape of her face, and the landscape that we are seeing in Jharkhand. So I think that really was the reason we chose it. The porcupine, I have many answers for you, and I'll give you 3. 2 non-serious and 1, 2 serious and 1 non-serious. The serious one is that the porcupine, many Adivasi communities have totems in sociology, that if you read about it, a totem means like a guardian spirit to which you can trace back your ancestry to. it's also like Kul Devta and Devi in Hindus, for the lack of a better, understanding. So the idea was, can a guardian spirit come up at the time of a peril, right? That's one. Then there is a writing-oriented answer, which is that when Nema is younger, she has a relationship with the shyest animal in the forest, right? What does that say about her? It says that she has a much deeper connection with nature than people even in her own tribe, right? And so she has a much deeper connection with her own self. Can you hear the heartbeat of the forest? Can you hear the heartbeat of yourself, right? Then life happens to her. She meets this guy in college. She has to shift out of that village, and she moves into a city. She gets pregnant with Dhanu, and somewhere in that house where she's living with her in-laws who are not indigenous, who are non-Adivasi, she has to bear a lot of shame, a lot of taunts from her daughter, from her in-laws. And sometimes when you bear shame, you move away from yourself. You move away from the completeness that you have as a child, right? But towards the end, when she sees her daughter play with the porcupine across the pond, she becomes whole again. She finds herself again, but through her child. And that's the reason that the porcupine exists, to connect two generations, to connect things that we don't realize that of our parents that we carry within us, right? So that's another. And the non-serious answer is that I listened to a band called Porcupine Tree, and I was listening to it when I was writing this film.
I was wondering how much, I'm sure you have done a lot of research for this. How much of this is your sort of expectation or hope that you are trying to show through the film, and how much of it actually exists in the field and reality?
We need to understand that these jobs have come into a place where there was the only job that was agriculture. And agriculture itself is a deeply exploitative place where women have to, do a lot of labor without as much remuneration. And when a woman in an indigenous part is able to fend for their family, say with 15 to 20,000 rupees, correct me, if I'm not wrong, I'm saying 4 years back what I researched. That money is a lot to take care and to, push their family forward and push their family out of certain kinds of misery and certain kinds of poverty that exists. I think that is one. The other is agency. In my interactions with data labelers have been very interesting. Like one anecdote that ma'am was sharing, I'll just share another one about the pest. That actually comes from a direct example where this in this data center, women were doing an agricultural labeling module, right? And they had to label a certain crop for a certain season, as it's understood by the West, or even predominant India, Rabi, Kharif, something like that. And this indigenous woman says, ma'am, if you label it, if you put it in this season, it is not gonna grow as well as it would in this other season, right? And the manager included that in their labeling aspect. So there is, and that's where this sort of an agency comes in. And that is not to say that it's all hopeful and it's all, of course there are tendencies that you do as you're supposed to do. All of that is human tendency and it exists. But at the same time, it's a very empowering place. I'll give you an example, one more example, which is a rather funny example. Women are working usually on a lot of data which is from the West. So all the men that pop up are fair-skinned, right? So these women, 4-5 of them, and this is not at your center, this is another center. They start rating these men. This is a 3 out of 5. This is a 2 out of 5. So if you think about it, this kind of an interaction of the most rooted sort of, you would never expect a person from a village to be able to talk about baseball, right? Or to be able to talk about all these things. I think it's a very, very unique, specifically unique to civilizational interaction, I would say. So that's why it comes from that. It comes from a hope. And also you do decide as a writer what political stance you want to take. And this work is too important for it to be just painted as, oh, this is exploitation. I think that's a very Eurocentric view as well, that when people look at it from outside, they're like, okay. But from within, as in sociology we say emic and etic. Emic is a study which comes from within. That, I would say, was very inspiring.
Filmmakers would be proud to produce something like this, and the complexity of it is very visible. What did you find as your biggest, sort of realization or aha through this whole process of making this film? Because I look at the casting, it's just so incredible. The cinematography, screenplay, I believe you wrote it yourself. So you've done a lot of work on various aspects of the film yourself. So just curious, as a first-time filmmaker, what did you get from it?
Facing challenges like there's no film infrastructure in Jharkhand, so you have to look for locations yourself, right? I would trek for like 13, 14, 15 kilometers a day to find these caves, and I would still not. And interestingly, philosophically, there's another understanding or realization that we're way more connected than we think, right? When I was in these parts and I would not find these locations, I would have to trek with Adivasi boys who were 17, 18-year-olds, and they were all wearing Japanese anime t-shirts, right? They were wearing Crocs. They had those buzz cuts that you see in Bombay and Delhi. So, and we would watch the same reels, right? So we're far more connected than we think. That is one. But another is that there is a flattening of life which is happening, homogenization which is happening. And more and more I feel concerned about that, because we are becoming like the hegemony, like the Western sort of, and we're not retaining who we are in a sense. And I think somewhere in the conversation it's gotten lost, what really we are. And anybody can ask you, is this really who you are? Are you, being an Indian means this, being an Adivasi means that? I think that was another realization. But on a very pragmatic and hopeful note, I think firstly as a filmmaker, one task was to get it made. Another task was to get it distributed.
All of a sudden, you're talking about US project, data labeling and all. Okay, was there any message you wanted to give, and or else you wanted to show the landscape of the Jharkhand? Yeah, no,
I get it, your question now. I'll give you one scene from the film which you have just seen, so you'll know. There's a moment in the film which cuts from a cave painting to a captcha. It's a jump of a millennia, right? But the job is the same. When you are looking at a cave painting, and especially a cave painting like this, which is marking a cave for a certain animal, it is labeling. Human beings understand the world by categorizing, by labeling, and as do animals, right? It's the basic tenet of intelligence. I think that is the very core of what I wanted to chase in this film, in that interaction. When technology fails, human cognition and human intelligence, takes front seat. Our understanding of navigation is so deeply, it's a very innate quality to navigate. Like, for example, when I was in Jharkhand, I realized this about myself, that I'm a great navigator. I didn't know this about myself, right? Because there's no Google Maps, there's nothing. So you have to remember the trees, you have to remember a path, etc. And first few days, I faced a problem. Next 3 months, I was the one who was taking everybody through the paths. And that is a thing that we've also forgotten. I don't know, have you read Dune, Frank Herbert's novel? In Dune, one of the most important qualities that, this is after AI has been abolished, by the way, in that book, which is called Butlerian Jihad, and all thinking machines have been abolished. And only human cognition and ability takes humanity forward. And out of that, navigation is the biggest one. So I think all of those ideas come into the scene where Google Maps fails you, then what takes you away, and what takes you out of that problem. Yeah.
mix of different worlds. You know, some of you were talking about this. Aspirational, yet rooted, giving back to their families, homes, and yet wanting to sort of work with the latest technologies. Women who are shattering glass ceilings, who are breaking their glass ceilings in ways that are invisible to us. These stories are, that's why I think for us, I think this is just stay with us, because we connect so much with the NEMAs. And we've got 4 incredibly bright, brave, courageous young women with us who we'd like to invite on stage. Sakshi Pandey, Anita Kachap, Khushbu Parveen, and Rashmika. Come on. And I would like to invite our Dr. Shantanu Paul. Everybody knows him here, I think, but entrepreneur, writer, somebody who's been working in the space of workforce development and young people and upskilling. So I think this is perfect to have him on the stage as well to us. And they're going to tell us about their life journeys, what they do, where they came from, what their ambitions are, what their life is about. And I think you'll find a remarkable connection to the movie. And I hope that we are able together to sort of continue to make this effort to bring more and more young women out of the situations that they are born into, and we are able to give them access to opportunities that allow them to make a transformation in their, not just in their lives, but in the lives of their communities. So I'd like to maybe start with the first question to all of you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, where you are from, and a little bit about your families, and what was it that brought you to Anudeep, right? At just that much to start with. Rashmika, you can start.
When I'm in the final semester of my graduation, I was in the, no one is there to help me out after my graduation, where I going to step out, where my life is. And this is the COVID time, and my father is also lost of income, and I have one younger brother who is studying in he is in schooling. So my family is running on savings. So it's a peak time, even we can't move out, and no one is there to guide me. I was little worried about where my life will be and how my career and how I need to challenge my life. It's very difficult. So I came to know this about institute from my neighbor aunt. She is a lecturer who her students also taking course in this foundation. That time this institute is giving free courses. I joined in Tally ERP9 and then soft skills. As I'm doing my graduation, I took BCom computers. So I thought to take that will be helpful in my career as well. So in the 1 month of time, I got this opportunity, placements opportunity in Wells Fargo. Among 52 students, 2 got selected. I'm the one, and the next one who can see in that banner, Bushra Nazmin, she is also with me. We both got placed at one go.
Okay, that's fabulous. Do you want to do a follow-up?
So I joined as a research remediation analyst. Now I'm the senior frauds and claims operation representative.
Johar from Jharkhand. My name is Khushbu Parveen and I am from Jharkhand, a small village called Irba, which is in Ranchi. I have 9 siblings, and it's I am the one that most of the time what happens, girls are being tabooed and they are being expected to stay at home, not to work and get married early and not to do so many things. I am the one who thought, no, I don't have to do that. I thought of breaking that rule book, and I am the one from my family who has broke that, and because I believe there are some rules to be broken. And at that time I came to know about Anudeep. The most interesting thing that I found was like Anudeep was not only the one who provides the training, but also provides the, it's like Anudeep was one of the door opening for me to achieve my career and move towards. So this is the one that I have. Thank you.
Basically, we have a stationery shop, and I think that people will relate that coming from a village, how the lifestyle will be. So from there, I completed my 10th, and I said my father that I want to study, I want to get good education, please move me into city. Then for my higher studies, I went to Ranchi, and I completed my graduation from there. But after completing the graduation, the real struggle for me started, because it was the time of COVID in 2021, and I was just thinking that what I will do after this. Like no campus placements were there and nothing was coming in. So my friend, she told me about Anudeep, and at that time I joined the classes. Within 2 months I got placed in TCS, and from there my life started, I would say. Anudeep has helped my job, and currently I am working in Deloitte as a finance analyst. So I think that this is all about me. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Anita Kachhap. I came from Ranchi in a small village named Rukka. 2013 मेरे लिए मेरे लाइफ का सबसे डिफ़िकल्ट सिचुएशन था। मैं उस वक्त और मेरे फैमिली में कुछ ऐसा सिचुएशन हुआ जिसके कारण उस समय मेरे हस्बैंड फिज़िकली एंड मेंटली वेल नहीं थे। मेरी एक 6 मंथ की बेबी भी थी, मुझे उसे भी देखना था और मुझे घर भी चलाना था, क्योंकि मेरे पति उस टाइम वर्क नहीं कर पा रहे थे। तो मैं सोचने लगी अब मैं क्या करूं। मेरे लिए तो सारे रास्ते बंद हो गए ऐसा लग रहा था, लेकिन जब सारे रास्ते बंद होते हैं ना, तो हमारे लिए एक रास्ता खुलता है। वो था मेरे लिए अनुदीप। मैंने सुना था कि अनुदीप में 3 मंथ्स का कोर्स कराया जाता है, उसमें कुछ स्किल्स वगैरह सिखाए जाते हैं। तो मैंने यही सोचकर मैं अनुदीप फाउंडेशन ज्वाइन कर ली, और मैंने वहाँ 3 मंथ्स का कोर्स कंप्लीट किया, और मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी मिला आई मेरिट में इंटरव्यू देने का। और मैं इंटरव्यू दी आई मेरिट में, और मैं फर्स्ट टाइम में ही पास कर गई। और मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ी बात थी कि मैं अपने दम पर खड़ी हो गई। मुझे अब पूरा भरोसा हो गया कि मैं अब फैमिली को चला पाऊँगी। तो फिर मैंने अपना कैरियर का स्टार्टअप किया, और मैंने ये सोच रखा था, और वहाँ ऐसे काम किए हमने। मैं स्टार्टिंग में सिर्फ मुझे डेटा एंट्री आता था और कुछ नहीं, लेकिन अभी मैं वन ऑफ द ओल्डेस्ट एम्प्लॉय इन आई मेरिट अभी मैं हूँ, और मैं रनिंग में हूँ। मेरा वहाँ 13 साल वर्क किए हो गया, और मुझे गर्व होता है कि आजकल के पीपल बोलते हैं ना कि AI जेन AI वगैरह वगैरह। मैं तो AI को 10 साल से जानती हूँ, और मैं 10 साल से उस पर काम कर रही हूँ। मुझे गर्व होता है। मेरी बेटियाँ बोलती है, मेरी 2 अभी बेटी है, वो बोलती हैं कि मम्मा मुझे भी सीखना है AI, मुझे भी ये काम करना है। तो मुझे बहुत खुशी मिलती है। मेरे लिए ये सबसे बहुत गर्व का बात है, और मैं चाहती हूँ, मैं बहुत थैंकफुल हूँ अनुदीप एंड आई मेरिट का। मैं बहुत बहुत शुक्रगुजार करती हूँ अनुदीप और आई मेरिट का कि मुझे अपने पैर पर खड़ा होने का मौका दिया। Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we'll have one more round of questions, and I must say that since we had a chance to interact with them before this event, I know some information that I will try to bring to the fore so that you can all appreciate that. I'll start with Khushbu. Khushbu, you said that in the 10, 11 years that you've been in iMerit, you have gotten promoted many times. And I think you'll be all impressed to hear she managed a team of 70 people, right? And so that journey, वो जो journey है आपकी, आप please उसके बारे में बताइए कि how was it that you went from, I don't know what my life will be, career will be, to being able to grow so fast, so much. And I think you said you manage many clients. You can tell the audience how many clients you manage across the world and all that. Just give us some detail of your growth.
Sure. So as mentioned, I have started my journey from Anudeep, and I mentioned Anudeep was my door opening, but it was like Anudeep, from classroom to a global AI company. I went to iMerit. I was not aware of what is AI. I was not aware. Frankly speaking, I was not knowing anything. And that is the reason I am saying it was like from classroom to a global AI company. I started my job there as a junior annotator, doing an annotation job. Annotations are of many types, and I'll not go through details, but I just started from creating a bounding box, object detection. Like we were training algorithm, like we saw the movie, training, giving the difference between what is chair and what is table. Like what is apple and what is trees. So in this way we have started the annotation. I have started the annotation. Later in my career, I started learning, started from the basic things, and then I have learned so many things in advance, I would say, like starting from annotation bounding box to polygons, polygon annotation, panoptic segmentation, semantic segmentation, and all those stuffs. So, and post learning, my career has grown a lot. Like as mentioned, started as a junior technician. Currently, I am working as a project manager, and I have completed 11 years in iMerit as on today. Talking about the clients that mentioned, during the interview in iMerit, the funniest thing that I would like to share, when I went for the interview, I was shaking. I was not able to type anything. My hand was shaking. I was giving a typing test, but I was not able to type. There was a very basic question, what is printer? And I was not able to answer that. Because lack of confidence, I would say, and I would thank iMerit. I have learned what is courage from there. I haven't selected in my first interview just because I was not confident and I was not able to answer anything. Thanks to my Anudeep trainers who has given me that courage and supported me. They were having the confidence that you will win next time and you should not give up. I tried attending the next interview just after 15 to 20 days, and I have successfully cracked that. So from here I have started. Currently I am managing, like earlier as mentioned, I was not that confident. Now I am confidently handling independently so many clients. I would say 10 plus clients I am managing now, and independently across the globe. Taking care of 70 plus team members. And like as mentioned, now we have started from the basic annotation job. Now we have learned a lot. We have trained the model. Now the another step that we have moved forward is like we are evaluating the model annotation. Whether the model has learned a lot or whether model has learned it correctly or not. We have seen the movie now. I really believe AI is a baby. How you teach, the model will learn the same. And we have experienced that. We have seen there are so many auto-generated annotations which are incorrect. And it's like our teammates had made those mistakes. So this is the one that we are annotating and we are evaluating those things. So the journey from basic annotation to the evaluation, and now in iMerit, we are ensuring our client will stay committed to the client that we will deliver 100% quality, and we have so many such clients. Those are so happy and satisfied with the client. We are delivering 99.9% accuracy as on today.
Great. Can I move on to somebody else?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. But fantastic narration of your growth and journey. When I was talking to Sakshi, I was quite astonished to realize that she came from sitting in Hyderabad, we think Ranchi is not such a big city, but for her, coming from village, Ranchi was a very big city, right? Am I right? And that was itself a big sort of discussion with her parents to go to a big city called Ranchi. But she made two comments in passing in a conversation which I thought were astonishing. One is that one day she decided that I don't want to work for TCS, which I thought was a very remarkable statement to make. And she also made a statement about her selection of her partner, spouse. And maybe those two stories you can tell us. Yeah. Huh? TCS. You said no, one day something happened to me. Yeah.
So I was working for TCS for last 3 years. And last year, 2024, I was working and suddenly one thing hit me, and that was like, Sakshi Pandey, what are you doing? Because I was getting promoted there, everything was very fine, everything was going good. But somewhere I was not satisfied with myself. I was thinking, no, this won't satisfy me, I want something more. And then I decided to leave my job, and from there I started job hunting, and within 2 months I got offers from many other companies. I upskilled myself, but that was also not enough. In my mind there was, I want to be in any of the big fours, and then finally I cracked Deloitte and I joined there. So that was the one thing. And what I believe is upskilling yourself, manifesting, being courageous. Because as sir told that I am from saying my parents that I want to leave my village and go to Ranchi. That was one thing. Then when I moved to Kolkata, by the first time I saw the buildings and the roads, I was scared. I just called my mother and I said, the roads are very big, how will I cross them? And then she said me, no, you will do. Just have patience, try and go to office daily and interact with people. So I was in Calcutta, and I think I have developed so many things. I learned from people. I admire people a lot, because I think that everyone here who all are present can give us something what we can learn. So from there I again came to Hyderabad, and I think that Deloitte is not the final stage for me. I want myself in Google or somewhere else, and I again want to be here with you all and share my story. So this was one thing. So selecting my spouse, actually in our area what happens when the girl grows 23, 24, 25, people are very worried. Get them married, get them married, get them married. So my parents were also like that. My mother, her health condition was not good. And one fine day they told me that we have seen one guy for you, he is in IT. Let's go and meet. So I went with them. The first thing that we were talking, and then he said me, do you want to ask anything? I said that, yeah, only one thing I want to ask, I want to work, I won't leave my job. I will get married, no problem in that, but I won't leave my job. He said, okay, I don't have any problem. Everything was fixed. I said him, okay, it's fine, my job is in Hyderabad and you will have to relocate because I can't relocate because of the project and all. So eventually he agreed there, and from this I just want to say that we are empowered. It's not that, it is his support and my family and his family support that now today he is working in Bangalore and I am working in Hyderabad. But eventually with our understanding and everything, we both manage our life. And for me, like, my dreams are also not shattered. Every day I am being confident, I am being ambitious, and I want to pass it to my people in my village. Whenever I go to that small village, I take videos of the offices, I take videos of the places where I go and where I visit. And when they see that, they are like, oh, Didi, wow, these buildings are very good, these buildings are very nice, I also want to work. How did you went there? I tell them that you just have to study, keep yourself motivated. And one most important thing I would like to say, that if that day my friend wouldn't have been told me about Anudeep, then maybe today I was working in Ranchi or I would have been a housewife. But that one good decision that I made, and from there my life journey, it started, and today I'm here. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Lovely narration. Anita, back to you. Your daughters, आप बेटियां बोल रही हैं कि आप जैसे काम करना है, सीखना है, तो आपकी बेटियां की life, how do you see their lives being different from yours? What do you think will happen? That how will they grow? How will they learn? In what way will their lives be different, given where you started?
मैं अपनी बेटियों को मुझसे भी ज़्यादा ऊपर तक ले जाना चाहती हूँ। मैं जिस जगह पर अभी काम कर रही हूँ ना, उससे भी हाई लेवल पे उन्हें मैं सिखाना चाहती हूँ। वो खुद देखकर मुझे सीख रही हैं कि मुझे भी एआई करना है, मम्मा मुझे भी एआई करना है। वो मुझसे इंस्पायर हो चुकी है और वो बोलती हैं कि मैं भी यही काम करूँगी। तो मैं बहुत उन पर फोकस कर रही हूँ, उनके लाइफ पर, कि वो अपना एजुकेशन सही से करें और अपना जो भी है अपना बेस्ट दे और बहुत आगे तक जाए।
So Anita still works from Ranchi, right? आप रांची में रहती कहाँ हैं आप? कौन से गांव में? रुक्का। I think you mentioned that earlier. And वहाँ से रांची आने में जाने में आपको कितना टाइम लगता है डेली काम करने के लिए? 1 hour each way. Okay. Thank you so much. Wonderful. I want to come back to you, Rashmika. I think you made a very interesting comment, which I remember. You said that she works for Wells Fargo, as you realized. That was the dream job she got. But she said she spent a lot of time before that thinking about something. Can you tell them what it was?
Actually, like before placing into Wells Fargo, my big mother used to stay in the Gachibowli Stadium, like near to Gachibowli Stadium. When I'm passing through this Wells Fargo building, like whenever I'm going to visit my big mother house, just in bus while I'm going, my dream is to like one day I have to step into this building for sure. But finally, unfortunately, in the same building right now I'm working, just because of Anudeep Foundation, like Anudeep Institute. I'm feeling very proud. Like my dream, when I'm in graduation, like my dream is to get in a good job, like one big MNC company. But getting in a big MNC company is also a task without communicational skills and not knowing about the companies and everything. But this institute has taught me soft skills and communicational skills and how to interact with the people and basic computer knowledge. Even I don't know how to type and how to open Microsoft Word and Excel. These basic things also important to enter into a MNC company. These all things I have learned in my course. So first my dream is like step into this building. Finally I got job in that building. Like it's a Wells Fargo company. Like it's been 5 years. Like I'm working over there.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What is your current dream? Which building do you want to go into next?
Next I want to like go to Bank of America or Franklin.
I see. All right. So those buildings are also along the way, I hope. Please keep walking around them. I will, in the interest of time, I think we will open up for 1 or 2 questions from the audience.
I represent Avanti Group of Engineering Colleges. I've been the Director for Training and Placement for the last 23 years. And my journey with Anudeep the last 1 year has been so significant. And after seeing 4 of these young women coming onto the stage, I could relate this with my students. Thanks to Anudeep, who have trained almost all 400 students from my college. And the quality of the training and the deliverables or the relatable to the content curriculum related to the market is absolutely awesome. Madam, please keep up the good work going.
Name in my life except mine. So therefore I have this to make sure I don't forget to thank everybody who made this event possible. I'll start with you, Aranya. I watched this movie 3 times. Every time I watch it, I'm mesmerized. There's something new I take back. And I'm amazed at the connection that this movie has with I Merit Anudeep. Breaking the glass ceiling, breaking the paper ceiling and everything else that is required to make this world a more equitable, inclusive and a better place to live in. So thank you for being here, being part of this. I'll then thank our hosts, Shushmita, Professor Shukla and everybody else from IIIT Hyderabad who gave us this amazing venue and forum. And everybody else from your team who helped make it happen. Thank you very much. We couldn't have done this without you. The girls, this is where I need the names. We have, I'm sorry, this, Anita, Khushbu, Rashmika and Sakshi. Please don't take any offense, I really forget names. But I'm so thankful you came all the way, shared your experiences. It takes a lot of courage to speak about everything that you did, and I'm amazed at your courage. Thank you. You made us feel proud today.